Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome back to this week's Bitcoin update. First and foremost, remember nothing discussed today is financial advice. It's just for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the markets. And now that that's out of the way, let's jump into the charts and cover what you're here for. And that's some no bullshit TA. Straight to the point. Right, so what we're going to do, as usual, we're going to run through last week's trades. And this week's trades, in fact, so you guys can learn from that. So we've got some success stories, we've got some losers, and then we're going to talk about what I'm looking for next. So since last week's video update, obviously we were up here, which would have been, in fact, it was my birthday, wasn't it? Yeah, up here we had last week's trade update, and since then we've had a move down towards these local range lows. So there's nothing significant, but there has been some better trading going on within this. So obviously, following on from the YouTube update, what we were talking about, if you go watch last week's video, I had some very simple plans. Either take out these highs, because I wasn't comfortable with these equal highs that created in the end. So either take out these highs, or if we do start to roll over, then chances are we'll go through this zone quite quickly because there's loads of tight stop losses together. And this is what I meant to. We ended up having tight stop loss, and then all the way down here, this kind of grinding PA. And in the end, didn't mean to do that. We ended up coming back through this zone. To where we are right now. So obviously that's the overall picture, but obviously how we got down here is probably more interesting because there were some trades to be had. So let's remove that, and then let's go on to Thursday's plans. So Thursday's plans, nothing major on Thursday's plans. Obviously we did the video for you guys on YouTube on Thursday, but obviously I update my members on Thursday. And the first thing I was coming in on Thursday was saying expecting some movement on Bitcoin over the next day or two. We always see movement this time of year around my birthday / the start of autumn. And if anybody wants to fact check that, go back and check my birthday over the last few years, and you'll see that my birthday seems to give some decent moves, even if it's just low time frame volatility. It always seems to give a good setup, which is why I was expecting something to happen over the day or two. And I'm coming in and I'm saying support weekly open first. Okay, so this was my first region, which is this white line here, weekly open. This is what I was looking for price to come down to if we were going to roll over. Obviously, you guys know I also had the plan up here, so I'm not going to LARP and say that I was expecting it to come down, because there was a good chance it could have gone up as well. But in the end, we ended up coming down, taking out some low time frame market structure, in the end coming back up into the golden pocket, which then give us the drop down towards the weekly open. So obviously if you caught that, that was actually a really good trade in the end. What do I mean by that? Well, if we do a fib pull from the high down to this low down here, we can see using this pivot here, again, this is on the 1 hour time frame, so it's very low time frame. We ended up taking out some structural support with this move down. We came back up, came back into that golden pocket, lovely. And then if you ended up getting the short trigger there, then there's your TP, you know, so you had a nice trade out of that if you caught it. So this is what I was looking for on Thursday. Now then, moving into Friday, so got the move down yesterday into the weekly open region, taking out Monday's lows, which this was Monday's lows, as a simple swing failure pattern, very slight swing failure pattern, but for me that was good enough for a scalp long, so I ended up getting a scalp long. Now this is obviously on Friday, so by the time I'm giving the update, we were roughly, what was 9 o'clock, so it'd been 8 AM UTC, locked in a TP1, which was at the local range highs after taking out the previous day's highs, once we'd come down, sorry. Local range forming, TP1, great, stops the entry, very small TP1, so it wasn't a massive winning trade. You know, if you'd have taken the whole thing out, you'd have got a 3 hour out of that, but I didn't, so that's fine. But I was going to monitor it, okay? Now, my plans on top of that was if we managed to flip previous day value area high in support, then we can look back towards that 27k region, which would have been effectively the golden pocket from the high of the move to the low of the move. And that's why I'm looking for that 27k region if it got up there. But in the end, it couldn't flip previous day value area high. So that's where we ended up being and ranging. Okay, so simple trade. Nothing crazy, and that was a Friday. Now, Sunday evening was quite fun, because Sunday evening, just as I opened up my charts and opened up Twitter, or X, or whatever you call it these days, I saw all the influencers in the world screaming breakout. And this is what happened. So obviously they're all screaming breakout because whatever made up trend line they've got here broke, and we could see it on the odd flow at the time. People were piling into longs. There was quite a big portion of longs coming in, brand new longs, all at market. So people clearly had FOMO once this trend line broke. Everyone got excited and it came back up. And where did it come into? Well, it just came into the local range highs and ended up doing a little mini swing failure pattern of that previous high, which obviously was the take profit one from the previous trade. Little swing failure pattern. That to me was good enough short entry just to continue playing the range. Did I know it was going to come all the way down here? No, I didn't. I'm not going to sit here and laugh and say that I did. And what my original plan was that I was just trading the range. Okay, range trading strategy 101. This is exactly what I teach in the group, but in the end, we ended up letting it run into Monday. So, range bound weekend, as expected. Range bound weekend. Move up into local range highs. Now, my initial thoughts would be, that was a short for me, sorry. Now, the initial plan would be obvious sweep of the weekend highs or lows. So, obviously, the weekend lows being here. And the weekend highs now being up here. Now, that's just a standard play that we do on a weekend. In the end, we didn't actually get that because of what happened on Sunday night. Okay, outside of this, I want to see what price action gives us upon Monday open to fully update my plans for the week to come. So basically what I'm saying by that is I have no real strong bias coming in on Sunday evening, and I want to see how Monday opens up before I start making more detailed plans for the guys. Okay, so that's Sunday. Now, coming in on Tuesday now, so obviously Monday we got the move down. Tuesday's plans. We'll go into depth tonight about the bigger picture, but for today, the 80-20 setup has potential if we find acceptance back into yesterday's value, which was basically looking for a move up, but we never actually played out in full. And then support, I'd still like Monday's lows being swept to look for a potential long. So what I'm talking about here is Monday's lows, these two lows here. I'm looking for those to be swept into this golden pocket, into this weekly region down here. So strong SR level down here, and it's the last SR level effectively before price just melts on down back to this zone here. So this is why I was looking for this. Now this is where I went wrong, and again I'm quite happy to hold my hands up with this. I would have loved this to be being swept to give me a long trigger. So effectively what I'd be looking for is this come back down, take out the liquidity from these lows, give me that long trigger, hopefully down at this region here, and then I got that long and I'd have caught that move up here. Okay, but what I didn't get is I didn't get the entry criteria because this on Bybit, this move down here didn't take out this low here. Okay, so what I was hoping for is this double bottom here to be then taken out again, because like, as you guys know, I've said this time and time again, I don't like double bottoms, I don't like triple bottoms, because it just means the likelihood is the liquidity gets swept, just like we had all the way back here. 1, 2, 3, liquidity swept, then reverse. Okay, I don't like double bottoms, I don't like double tops. So that's what I was looking at down here. However, after we got this move back up, I then went to check other exchanges, primarily Spot and CME, and this move down did take the lows. So there was actually an acceptable long trigger. Was that if you caught it, which absolutely fine. I didn't, and again, I'm not going to sit here and laugh and say I caught every single move in the market, because I didn't. So it was an acceptable long, but I didn't actually realise that until afterwards. And again, that's just what happens being a trader. And this is what you've got to admit. You've got to admit when you're wrong or when you don't see something. Okay, because I'm not there permanently 24/7 flicking between every single chart, every single exchange, you know, ensuring that I catch every single move. If I miss a trade, I miss a trade. It's absolutely fine. I got some good trades on the way down, and you'll see that there's another good trade to come on the back of this. But yeah, I didn't catch any of this long, which not the end of the world for me. Absolutely fine. I still preferred these lows to be taken, which is fine. Okay. Now, this is coming on to Wednesday. Now, Wednesday yesterday was a fun day. Once again, a lot of FOMO in the market. Now, on the Tuesday night, I'd done the live stream for the members, which is my chat and chill live stream, which is where I talk about my plans, and it was a big one this week. We did Bitcoin, Ethereum, the S&P, NASDAQ, quite a lot of Forex, quite a lot of stocks, and a few altcoins as well. So it was a very big, in-depth market review, talking about all the levels that I'm planning on trading. So one of these was this level right here. Okay, you can see here, I had a short area of interest on this level right here. As we're moving up into it, we ended up getting no reaction. And all we were getting is just long. We had the initial strong longs opening up at the lows, and this just ended up as a giant short squeeze towards the end. So what I'm doing is I'm updating the guys throughout, okay? And this is the difference between me and your standard paid group leader. So I'm saying Wednesday's plan is exactly the same as I shared last night's stream. Study the levels and pay attention to my thoughts at each level, because one thing that I will discuss is the levels where I'm interested in trading, but only if a certain criteria is made upon reaching that level. And that's the difference. That's what we call context, okay? So we're coming up to this level here, and I'm saying I'm still being patient. I need to see some weakness develop, okay? So there's no trade. I'm still being patient. Now, once we got through that, which again, it just went straight through, like a knife through butter, I'm saying Sunday's highs are the next most likely spot. I still remain patient though. Now, Sunday's highs obviously was from the short region that we took here. Sunday's highs, most likely region, run the stops, which will be taking out these stops, and potentially these stops here. But I'm still being patient, okay? I'm not in any rush. I'm still being patient. And I'm saying, again, I'm updating the group as it's coming up here. Nothing so far. Happy to be patient. Now, upon reaching the top and then starting to go sideways, now again, we'll have to zoom into a lower term time frame, which we will in a bit. I'm coming into the group then because I'm spotting something, and I'm spotting the old BART pattern, which has happened, obviously, as you guys know, over the last few months. The BART pattern's been in play quite a lot of times. In fact, people were calling this the BART pattern, which technically it does look like a BART pattern, but it's not a true BART pattern. However, I'm saying if we range here, then we've got a double distribution potential. Could give us the setup. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm saying sideways for a little bit, and then we nuke straight back down. Okay, now once we've gone sideways for a little bit, I'm then updating the guys. The 1 to 3 minute structure is lost. Okay, so if we zoom into a lower turn time frame, we can see here. So we came up, we came down, and then once we come down here, we'd broken the 1 to 3 minute market structure. So therefore, for me, that was then game on looking for shorts. So then what did we do? We came back up into the golden pocket. Okay, didn't take the highs. So that for me was a nice short trigger. And a lot of the guys in the group took the same short trigger because it was a great setup. And then in the end, we just rolled straight back down. And where did we roll back down? Well, we'll roll back down into daily open. Again, so just a perfect double distribution day setup. Okay, so that's what we got in the end. So thin move up, followed by a thin move down, followed by another swing failure pattern down here before I move up. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and laugh and say I caught this one because I didn't catch this one, although it was a fairly straightforward setup. I know some of the guys in the group did catch this. Moving back up. So that's where we are right now. So in the end, this ended up being a 6-hour trade if you'd have held onto it the whole way without taking partial profits. I did skim off some profits back here at this zone here because we did get a decent bounce off it. So I skimmed off some partial profits. It was into the VWAP. It was a key level. And in the end, it just blasted straight through it afterwards. So that's fine. Second take profit, down at daily open, good trade. So that's where we're up to right now. Now, how many minutes are we in? We're in 13 minutes, so let's pull his finger out and move a bit faster, shall we? Here we go. Right, so what am I looking for next? Well, again, let's just do what we do. So, 1 range, 2 range. It's the same ranges as we've been looking at for months and months and months now. So where we are right now, if the top range manages to hold, then we can start looking back down. We'll roll over. Now, first and foremost, we've got to pay attention. Remember what I said at the start of the video when I was running through the ideas. We do have a zone underneath these lows. If that doesn't hold, that's low time frame, by the way. If that doesn't hold, then I'll be looking for it to roll over and come back down to the old macro range high. Now, if it comes back down to the macro range high, and we get a good reaction, effectively taking out these lows. Now, remember, this only happened on Bybit. This didn't happen on every single exchange. So we can pretend that this wick's not here. So if we end up coming down, grabbing these lows, then turning round, then there's potential for a long trigger. If we don't get that, and it just starts to roll over even further, then first and foremost, we've got to be aware of this sticky zone here. But if that gives us nothing, then as said many, many times, I'll be looking back down at this EQ and more than likely taking these lows out. If that doesn't hold, range lows. It's simple as that. It's just level to level. And that's if we get acceptance back into this macro range here. So that's that. Well, what happens if we get acceptance back into the top range? Well, if we get acceptance back into the top range, first and foremost, we've got this sticky zone to contend with. If we get past this, then the same plan as last week is in play, where I'll be looking for these highs initially. But the stronger zone will be this here. Now, as I said last week, every man and his dog is looking at this level. Okay, so no matter what type of trading style you look at, whether you're a confluence trader like us, whether you're a Fibonacci, Elliott Wave, order block, supply and demand, whatever you want to call it, regardless, everybody will be looking at this level. Okay, so this is a key level. So if this gives us a reaction, then there's potential for a short trigger there. If this gives us no reaction, then I'll be looking to come back up towards range highs. And it's as simple as that, and we're just effectively just trading this range. But there are some key levels in between it. Okay, so first and foremost, starting off with the sticky zone just above. Secondly, starting off with these highs, and then we're moving up to this level here. Okay, so it's a level-to-level environment. We're not in up-only mode, we're not in down-only mode, we're in sideways mode. So this is how you've got to trade. You've got to know when to lock in profits and when to get out of positions. Okay, it's not about holding on to everything and hoping for the best. It's about being smart with your money. Now, once again, like I said, if we end up breaking out of here without a simple swing failure pattern, then I'll be going back up and I'll be looking at this range here, which is 38 to 40k. That'll be my next range. Get above that, then we're talking about these range highs here, which will be coming in roughly around 46 to 48k. And then so on, so on, and so on. So again, I'm not uber bullish, I'm not uber bearish. I'm just trading a crab market, and that's done as well for the past 466 days. Crab market, knowing when to get in, knowing when to get out. That's what you gotta do. Obviously, if you guys want to learn how we do this, then first and foremost, head over to our website, spitfiretraders.com. Okay, links to our free Discord here. And if you do want to join us, let's get rid of this. If you do want to join us, it'll cost you the grand old price of $59.95 or 60 Great British Pounds, or in dollars, that's roughly around $75. And you'll get access to not only all the educational library, but you'll also get access to the real-time updates when I'm going through the plans. Okay, and obviously this doesn't just cover Bitcoin. The snippets that I cut out for today is just for Bitcoin, but it also covers some setups on altcoins and traditional markets too, because we cover everything in the group. Right, if you've enjoyed today's content, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, then consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that bell notification, because these updates are time sensitive. All right, gang, as you were. Bye-bye.